At a potential fuel crisis as the war in the Middle East rages on. This is after the shutting of the Strait of Hormuz and the attack on Iraqi waters that rendered key fuel vessels damaged. However, as NTV's Brian George Otieno explains, the country should brace for more than just a fuel crisis. Take a look.
Imminent inflation pressures continue to signal as the war in the Middle East takes yet a new twist with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a strategic transport corridor facilitating supply of fuel to Kenya and the larger East African region. The closure also now comes with fresh attacks by the Iraqi on fuel tankers. The attack, an apparent escalation on Iranian attacks that have cut off Middle East energy supplies, defies President Donald Trump's claim to have already won the war he launched 2 weeks ago.
As for our commercial ports, they are still operating, relying on the ships that are in the waiting area until the last ship completes unloading. The oil ports have been completely shut for 2 days, given that the last 2 tankers that have been loaded with oil and were in a sheltered area are awaiting the end of military operations before departing.
Iraqi authorities said the vessels had been attacked overnight by Iranian boats laden with explosives. At least 1 crew member was killed. Another container vessel reported being struck by a known projectile near the United Arab Emirates on Thursday, a maritime security authority said. Last week, the Kenyan government assured that the security of supply till end of April. However, tough questions still arise on what happens after April stock is depleted. Already, the war has a knock-on effect on the Kenyan economy, and experts say Kenyans should brace for a bumpy ride.
The net effect is that there will be price hikes. And when the price goes up, it means we'll require more money. So there will be inflationary issues. Why? Because if we are buying, the supply is constrained, and in effect we are buying at a higher price. When this product comes back, we have to sell it at a higher price. And what does that mean? The people in the manufacturing who are using petroleum will have to hike their prices. The people in the transport industry, only when there's high risk at sea, and now the insurance has to go up, the freight charges have to go up. And this, in effect, will account for inflation. And when inflation goes up, it goes without saying, our Kenya shilling will be exposed to the strain with the foreign currencies. And so, to be fair, the truth is, we are exposed to that extent.
The shilling is already navigating complex headwinds with a sustained surge in crude costs. As of last week, Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA, stated that the government may fall back to the Petroleum Development Levy to stabilize fuel prices.
In terms of the applicability of the Stabilization Fund, that in the Petroleum Development Levy Act is at the purview of the Cabinet Secretary, who's the minister, as it's called in the law, and that it would be at his discretion to be able to apply those funds in consultation with the National Treasury. It's not something that the regulator does control. We as a regulator will compute the prices, advise the policymaker, and then the decision will be taken at that level.
The government now faces a difficult calibration between shielding the consumer and maintaining fiscal discipline. While the government has historically attempted to manage pump prices through the Petroleum Development Levy and stabilization mechanisms, the current magnitude of the global surge limits the available fiscal space.
The truth of the matter is that you don't need to go panic buying. No. You don't need to go panic buying. Actually, when people go panic buying, they cause a psychological problem that was not there. As we speak, there are vessels lined up in Mombasa to offload product, because the arrangement that we usually have with the likes of the suppliers that we have is not on spot. Yeah, so we have vessels lined up which can last us up to April, end of April. So we're still good. We're still good in terms of supply, trade agreement, and
Brian George Otieno, NTV, Nairobi.